living? Can they have unfinished business and don't realize
I would say
that they have it?
Absolutely, Sharon. In fact, you don't come out of this life unscathed, because even our parents' best intentions do damage to us. So we all have injury, we all have unfinished business. You know, I'll give you an example. This pops into my mind. I had a patient that came to me who said to me that she remembered as a baby that she would throw her baby bottle down on the floor from her high chair down to the floor, and she was so furious. And her mother would just pick the bottle up and give it back to her, and she'd throw it down because she didn't have language, so she couldn't even explain to her mother how frustrated she was and what she needed, right? And she just needed her mom to know that she needed to be picked up. So even a small little deficit like that, you didn't pick me up when I needed you, is an injury. It becomes unfinished business. So the thing is, how do we know we have unfinished business, Sharon? It's by listening to how we feel inside. If something happens in the present and we feel really emotionally upset, there's an intense reaction, like fireworks are going off inside of us, over something that seems relatively minor. It's a minor trigger in the present, right? That means we are being activated. And the mind works by association, comparing the present-day events with the wounds we suffered in childhood. And these associations are happening unconsciously. We don't even know we're doing it. And I call it the emotional lake effect. As we, you know, the actual lake effect blizzard is where a storm crosses the Great Lakes, dips into that huge reservoir of water, and then that makes the storm pick up force, and then it dumps a huge amount of snow on the leeward shores. Our psyches do this constantly. We dip into the reservoir of our unconscious. We dredge up all kinds of old unfinished business, old scars, old traumas. We don't know we're doing it. Next thing you know, fireworks are going off inside of us, and now we give an emotional, we have a huge emotional storm happening. We don't know why. So if you have a really strong reaction, it seems disproportionate to whatever's happening in the present, and you can't seem to shake it, that's how you know that you have some unfinished business, some old scar. And then in Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, my first chaos book, I show you how to literally strip away the overt content of whatever's happening in the present. So you don't get caught in the details of the here and now, because they are like a smokescreen that blinds you from finding what's really going on. Instead, you just sit down with yourself, strip away the content, and then see when you first felt this kind of emotional upset. Come up with a memory. Dredge a very early memory up. Now you start to see what some of the unfinished business is for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, were you thinking about yourself rather than hypothetically you thought maybe you have some unfinished business?
No, I wasn't thinking about myself. I'm pretty sure I do. And
well, if you're alive and kicking, you do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'm working on those things. I'm a therapist myself, and I'm into holistic healing too. So I am working. I was thinking about it, more so for friends that I know who have lost a loved one, especially like a child, and they're so much in grief. And I guess I was just wondering, with the parents themselves, I don't know, is it because they're so much in grief, even after time has passed? And of course, we know with death, it's not it doesn't end. But I just wonder if the parents themselves, if they have unfinished business with the loved ones that have passed, but they're not aware of it because they're so still in that sense of missing. All
right, that's a great question. Okay, so in this case, the unfinished business is unspoken guilt. What always comes through, like in the story I told in the first segment about the woman who's now in my love club, she was guilty that her child left her body, and she kept thinking, why didn't I see the signs? Maybe her gender identity disorder weakened her and made her sick. Well, this happens when kids overdose or they suicide. What did I do wrong? So the unfinished business for a parent is often the guilt. Because as a parent, you think, it's my job to protect you and save you, and if I didn't, I blame myself, okay? But the second piece is, the second piece that I always want people to understand is, we are not supposed to be separated from those we love. You form a bond with someone, it's for eternity. There's a certain natural order of things. A parent is not supposed to have a child predeceased, him or her. So it's already against the natural order of things to have the kid leave her or his body before the parent. But secondly, in any case, we're not supposed to be separated from the people we love. And this is why I'm at war with the whole Western approach to grief therapy, because the idea of grieve, let go, move on, do it in 6 months, this is garbage, because time actually makes us grieve more, not less. Because as time goes on, I miss you more, not less, because we're bonded for eternity. So the only solution is to reconnect. Now, when parents, like you're talking about, who are just so in pain, it's because they're not reconnecting. Every parent I ever helped to reconnect, the grief lifts. And of course, then in the dialogue, if there is any guilt, we work that through as well. Okay?
Okay. All right, then. But
thank you for that excellent series of questions. You're doing great work in the world, and really great talking to you.
All right, and thank you for all the work that you're doing, too.
Thanks, honey. So keep in touch.
Bye-bye. Okay.
So before I had this caller online, I was talking to you about Jan, who had some serious unfinished business with her dad, who left her when she was a little girl. And here we were in session, and we're a year into the therapy, and she said during a group session, I thought that once we figured out why I got depressed each year in April, it's because you left home in April. I thought once I figured that out, I wouldn't be depressed anymore. And here we are, it's April, and I'm depressed again. So I said to her, no, you haven't talked to him and told him about how you're feeling about his leaving. And for the depression to ease, you need to reconnect with him, and you got to tell him how you feel about his abandoning you. And she said she didn't know where to start. So she closed her eyes, and the words started pouring out. How could you have walked away? Never to contact me again. I went to the mailbox every day of my life, hoping to hear from you. You broke my heart, and for that I hate you. How can I love you and hate you at the same time? And she went on that way for 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, I asked her if she'd like to have her dad join the conversation. Did she want him to respond? She said, yeah, if it's really him. And then she heard him say, I didn't know. That's all she heard. I didn't know. And she heard this was a part of the sentence. I heard the full sentence. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't stop myself from molesting you, so I didn't know what else to do except to leave. I knew my behavior was wrong, and I didn't know what else to do but run away. Okay? So she said, yeah, and I hate you for having run away. And he said, I can't rest until I know you're at peace. And then she said, I'll never be at peace. You can't make this up to me. You can't get off that easily. I hate you. And he said, you can be mad at me for as long as you need to be, for eternity if need be. And I'm holding you while you kick me and you punch me, and my arms are around you, and you have to know you're safe. I won't ever violate you again. And she said, I needed your love then when I was a kid, and you left me, and now you're too late. And he said, we don't know how you will feel. I know you will feel better and less burdened if you just tell me everything. And I'm not asking you to forgive me or not to be mad at me. Just tell me what you feel. And she barked at him, why did you do it? Why did you just walk away from me forever? How could you? And he said, I was ashamed about what I had done to you, and I had abused you sexually, and I couldn't forgive myself for doing that. And the only way that I could live with the guilt was to pull the plug and pretend you didn't exist. And that way I could pretend that I hadn't done anything wrong. And what I did to you was terrible, it was sinful, and my decision to leave you was just as bad, and I have regretted it ever since. And I can't rest until I know that I've helped you to heal. And I want you to know that you never did anything wrong. You weren't responsible for my bad behavior, and you weren't responsible for my leaving. And then he said, but since my death, I have been with you all the time. I never went anywhere. I was just waiting for you to come to me. And then I heard him say, now is the time to start your journal. And when I asked my patient if she was thinking of writing a journal, she said that she was, and last night she took one out, but she couldn't begin. And she didn't know how. So the next week, she returned to my office, and she told me that she is finally finding a semblance of peace. And it wouldn't be an easy road for her, but with continued dialoguing with her dad and writing in her journal, she eventually did come to grips with what happened, and she began to create a new life for herself, one without fear, and one in which she was going to be helping children of abusive parents. And in time, she wanted to become a foster parent and maybe even open a safe house for abused kids, and perhaps even later on reconcile with her dad. So my point to you is, it's never too late. Never give up. Don't ask yourself to forgive. Just be in the dialogue, in the honest truth of what you do feel, and allow the dialoguing with the departed technique to heal you. This is what I'm here for. If you are needing my help, ask for a grief relief session. Reach out to me at AskDrLove.com. I will give you time. We'll do a session. I'll help you begin the process. And if you are suited for the Love Club, I might invite you into the Love Club where I will guide you further. So that's all I have for you now. Next time on Love Never Dies, we're going to be with Suzanne Wilson, the famous evidential medium. It's going to be an amazing show. So just keep your heart open, be true to yourself, and keep your relationships going with your loved ones in spirit. See you next time on Love Never Dies Radio.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.